We are starting in a short while. I'm just checking on other people's attendance and then we start. So welcome to Management Accounting. We want to continue from where we had stopped before the lockdown. So I'm just trying to look at participants and almost all of you have unique codes. It's not your names. The only person I can see his name is Gaspard. There is one called Kashia. I don't know if that's a name. There is Nema. There is... So what I'll do as we start, kindly let's follow the rules. I cannot mute everybody because I want the class to be as participative as possible. I want the class to be just like the normal class. That can only be possible if I don't mute. Because if I mute everybody, it will be a very dull class. So let us all be disciplined as we start. Kindly, if you know you are not in class or you are talking to somebody or you are talking on phone, kindly mute your phone so that we don't interfere with the class as it continues. So when you are doing something else, remember before you start doing it, you kindly go to the mute button, the one that looks like a speaker, and you click it before you start talking or doing other things. Otherwise, we'll really interfere with the class. I don't want to mute people. I have the option of muting everyone, but if I mute, I'll not be getting the responses as I want. Now, when I ask a question and you have a response, you unmute and give me the answer. If it's something on calculation, you can also unmute and you give me the answer. Now, when you have a question, you also have an option of raising your hand. How do you raise your hand? You click participants. Somebody has already started going against the rules. You click participants. Once you've clicked participants, there will be a sign there of a hand. You click the sign of the hand and I will see it in the screen. So if you have a question, you click participants, and then it will bring an option there, and we look at that. So remember the rules. Kindly, as you join the meeting, mute so that you don't interfere with other people. Now, what else did I want to announce? It's good for the session to be productive. It's good if it is writing down, you have a notebook and a pen and a calculator. So if I ask you an answer of a particular figure, you give me the answer. Because today we are starting calculations. And calculations, you can only participate if you have a calculator. So wherever you are, have a notebook, have a pen, and have a calculator so that we can start together. I hope we are together. So maybe if we are to move from where we had stopped, last time we were, if I'm not wrong, we were in chapter 3. Let me see, we were in chapter 3. So in chapter 3, this was, I've just made the notes up to where we had stopped last time so that we can pick from there. So we were in materials chapter 3. Again, remember, try as much as possible to write, but this we had covered last time. Until where we stopped last time is where I'll pick and move on from there. So make sure you have a pen, you have a notebook, and you have a calculator. When I ask for a question, you just unmute and give me the answer. Okay, so we were on cost estimation. Last time we saw cost estimation involves prediction of the total costs to be incurred to make a product or to offer a service. It involves forecasting how much cost is to be incurred. For example, if I'm making chairs, if I'm to make 10 chairs, what will be the total cost incurred in order to make 10 chairs? So cost estimation involves prediction of the total cost to be incurred to make a product or to offer service. We also saw, this is from chapter 2, we saw that in chapter 2, we have what is called variable costs, and we also have what is called fixed cost. Now, we saw this total cost is equals to variable cost plus fixed cost. Check your books, you wrote it down. Total costs is equals to variable cost plus fixed cost. We also saw that this variable cost is divided into two parts. There is the variable cost per unit. There is also the activity level. So variable cost is divided. I was trying to look at somebody's notes and I found out here the person wrote total costs. Kindly ensure what I write is also what you write so that we are together. So total cost is equals to variable cost plus fixed costs. Now, variable cost has got two parts. There is variable cost per unit, and there is also the activity level. I'm seeing there is somebody in a car somewhere. So the person in the car, switch off your video so that we don't see the activities there. So we are trying to say there is variable cost per unit and there is an activity level. So we also gave an equation last time. We said that this total cost, you remember when we were drawing diagrams, we saw that total cost is in the y-axis. Variable activity level is always in the x-axis. So this leads us to the equation which you learned in high school or somewhere. Y is equals to mx plus c. Y is equals to mx plus c. Where y is the total cost, you can see it from there. M is the variable cost per unit. X is the activity level, and C is the fixed cost. Kindly, let's mute. Let's mute. When you see me quiet, I'm just trying to mute people who are interfering with the class. So when you see me, I'm quiet. I'm just trying to mute people. So we are saying in this case, this equation can also be rewritten as y is equals to bx plus a. Okay. We next saw that when you are estimating costs, there are steps involved in estimation of costs. There are 4 steps we learned last time. When you are estimating costs, there are 4 steps. Step 1 is to calculate the first constant. The first constant is called variable cost per unit. Step 2 is to calculate the fixed costs. Step 3, fixed costs can, okay, variable cost per unit, if we start with this, it can either be M or B from what we have here. See here, variable cost per unit, what I select there, variable cost per unit can either be M or it can be B. So that is what I'm trying to project there, M or B. Fixed costs can either be C or A. So if we go back here, fixed costs can either be C or A, depending on which equation you are using. Next, the third step is to formulate the total cost equation. These equations, you already know them. The equation can either be y is equals to mx plus c or y is equals to bx plus a. I kindly request, even if you understand these, examples we are going to cover are different. So make sure you really follow what we are doing. Now, step 4 is to estimate the total cost at a given activity level. Maybe we are making 10 chairs. Now you are being asked, what is the total cost of making 10 chairs? That is called to estimate the total cost at a given activity level. We also saw last time there are 4 methods that are used to estimate total costs. And all these 4 methods, whichever method you use, they still follow the 4 steps. Whichever method you use, step 1 is to calculate the variable cost per unit. Step 2, fixed cost. Step 3, formulate the equation. And step 4, estimate the total cost at a given activity level. So there are 4 methods we learned. Linear regression. Sometimes this linear regression, you can write it if we didn't write it. It's also sometimes called least square. Least square. So sometimes it is called least square method. Linear regression method, sometimes it's called a least square method. Method 2 is high-low. This is fairly straightforward. Method 3 is accounts analysis. And method 4 is called a scatter graph. Scatter graph, sometimes it's called visual fit method. Sometimes scatter graph is called visual fit method. So the reason why I'm giving alternative words, so that if the examiner asks you using visual fit, calculate whatever cost, you should know what you should do. Whatever you've been asked, whichever method you've been asked, you should know what you should do in such a scenario. Okay, let us move on. So last time I left if we had started on method 1, linear regression. Now in linear regression, we said that in order to calculate the variable cost per unit, this one we also wrote last time. Just confirm in your notes that we wrote so that we can move on. In order to calculate the variable cost per unit, there is a formula that we use. What is the formula? You remember last time I wrote for you the formula in the board. N sum of xy minus sum of x sum of y divided by n sum of x squared minus into bracket sum of x close the bracket squared. Now, step 2, once you have got that, you go to step 2, calculate the fixed costs. We also wrote this formula down. Fixed cost is also called A. Fixed cost is equal to sum of y divided by n plus b sum of x divided by n. Now, in order to place figures into what you see here, there are some columns in order to solve this question by estimating the total cost. That this slide was not there, so we are moving to a new slide. In order to answer that question, there are some columns you will need. Some columns you will need. I'm just increasing Okay, so the columns we will need, I'm just using that as an example. So suppose this is our diagram there. So I'm just trying to be as realistic as possible so that everybody can. So in order to answer that question, there are some columns we will need, and the columns that we will need, as I set it up, we will need a column called X. We will need a column called Y. You will need a column called X, Y, and you will need a column called X squared. X squared. So in order to answer any question, you will need such columns. The others I can delete. So please, let's follow instructions. So these are the columns you will need in order to answer the question. So times, please, if you are not directing a question to me, kindly, so you will get these, and then here it will be, here we will have sum of, here when you add all these, so you will have to know the number of pairs of data. Maybe that is number 1, number 2, number 3, and then number 4, etc. And then here we'll have the totals. The totals will be the sum ofs. So the sums of will be the totals. So let me just go and pick symbols. So when I pick symbol here, I'll come and insert there so that it is there. So we have here sorry for that. So here we'll be having the totals. Let me cut there. I come and paste it there. So you will have the totals there. So those totals are the sum ofs. Those are the sum ofs. I'm pasting them. So in this case, this is sum of X. This is sum of Y. Here you'll have the total sum of X, Y, and there you'll have total sum of X squared. So you will be posting your figures as we look at an equation, and the question will help you just to post the figures. Okay, now I'm again applying this formula. N is the number of pairs of data. For example, if you have your X and Y, you just count how many X do you have? 1, 2, 3. So N will be 3. I'm just explaining this formula. Sum of X, Y, you come and pick this total here, that total there. Sum of X, Y. Next, sum of X, sum of Y. So you will come and take sum of X, you multiply by sum of Y. What else do you have in that formula? N is still 3. Sum of X squared. So you will go to X squared, and you pick the sum of which is given there. Next, you will need sum of X. You can see there is a difference between this and that. This is sum of X, and then you close the bracket squared. So you will come here and pick sum of X, this one, and then you square that answer. Why don't we look at an example? Take note, you can write down this example. So the first example we are going to look at in order to solve the question is June 2015, question 2, which is in page 109 of my notes. So note down the question, but don't write the question. The question, you will get it in the past papers that you have from your notes. So you don't need to write the question twice. So you already have it in the notes that I shared in the group. So June 2015, question 2, it is found in page 109. 9. So June 2015, question 2. Let me stop sharing that. I give you a new share. PDF. So we have there, no, it is not that, it is this. We said page, somebody to help me. June 2015, question 2, page 109. So I'll just type there, page 109. You all have these notes, page 109. So let me go to that. Yes, it is this question. So note the seating. I always use past papers to teach. So June 2015, that is the year the question was question 2. Take a minute to read that question before we do it. Take a minute to 30 seconds to read the question. So we can read it together as you take time to understand the question. So the following data has been provided by the catering company that prepares banquets and parties for both individual and business functions throughout the year. The following data has been provided by a catering company that prepares banquets and parties for both individual and business functions throughout the year. The data indicates that overhead expenses vary with the direct labor hours. You are being told overhead expenses vary with direct labor hours. Now, in this question, this examiner was good. He told you labor hours is the X. In another question, you will not be told which one is the X, which one is the Y. It's you to know which one is X and which one is Y. Now, what overhead costs depends on labor hours. So labor hours is the independent variable, X, and overhead cost is the Y, because overhead depends on the how many hours you use. Now look at how many marks were there. So required, estimate the cost function using high-low method. Whenever I'm quiet, I'm just trying to mute the people who are interfering with our class. Okay, so let's continue. Estimate the cost function using high-low method and linear regression. In other words, this question was asking you for step 3. Step 3 was to formulate the equation or estimate the cost function using high-low method and linear regression. Remember, we are in linear regression. So in order to answer that question, I'll go and now try solving it step by step. So that will lead me again to a new slide. My Excel, I'll be doing the workings in Excel. At the end of each weekend, I'll be sharing the workings in the group. I hope we are together. So this is the same question. This is the same question, but now I have it so that I'm in a position to read it once more. So the same question is here. Now I'm creating room so that I'm in a position to solve the question. So the question reads, required is estimate the cost function using high-low method and linear regression. We said, so we are in part A. Part A, we want to start with linear regression method. You have the formula in your book. Now, in order to answer this question, we will need, which columns have we said? We will need column X, we will need column Y, we will need column X, Y, and we will need column X squared. That is what we need. So because this was a PDF, I'll just have to type every month, June until May next year. So you have your June, July, until May next here, June, July. Okay, I'm just trying to post them until May next year. So that is what we have there. I've just posted that so that I don't take a lot of time. So you see it ends in May. And then here we will have a column for the total. Remember, total is the sum ofs. So sum ofs is the total. Sum ofs is the total. So let's post our entries. So June was 250. 250. Y was 55,000. Okay, 55,000. You can be helping me if you are in a position to calculate. If you have your calculator, you can calculate and unmute and give me the answer. What is XY? XY will be equal to 250 times 55. So it will be that. Okay. Okay, next we have X squared. X squared is just 250 times 250 times again that. So we have 62,500. So we have XY is this times that. X squared is this times that itself, 250 times 250. So I'll post all the figures so that we now move fast. The next one is 270. The next one is 300, followed by 420. If I'm wrong, you correct me. Followed by 450. November is 550. December 650. January is 750. February 700. March 450. April 310. And May is 650. Sorry, 650. 650. Okay. Next, July Y. July Y is 59,000. I hope we are together. The next one is 60,000. 60,000. Next one is 64. 64,000. Next 67,000. 71,000. Okay. 74,000. Okay, just read for me so that I write them. Next 77,000. 77. Okay. Next 70. Yes. Next is 75,000. 75,000. 75. Yes. Next 68,000. Next 62,000. Next 73,000. 73,000. So we have finished with that. So I can just move so that everybody sees. Now we have said XY. XY is just this times that. So because I'm using Excel, but in exams, remember, you don't have Excel. You must do it manually one by one. I've just done the multiplication there. X squared. I'm just scrolling so that we move fast. Now, we have everything that we are in need of there. Okay, let me increase this size because the figures are big. So we have that. What do we have as the total? You add everything. So I'll auto sum, maybe I'll get my answer there. So that is the totals that we need in that question. So those are our totals. So I can put them maybe in bold. Up to there, do we have a question? If you have a question, you can ask. I'm pausing. Do you have a question up to there? Okay. Now, we said that the formula is I'm just trying to pick so that we save time. I hope you people, you have the formula somewhere, because moving from one screen to the other is not easy. Do you have the formula of B?
Yes, you have.
So you can read for me.
Summation of it's B equals to N summation of X and Y, multiplication of X and Y, negative summation of X times summation of Y.
Okay.
Over.
So I want
over N summation of X.
Thank you. I want everyone to be in the page where that formula is. Everyone to be in the page where that formula is, because I'll not be reading. I'll just be, sorry, I'm just going back to the Excel. Do you see the Excel screen? Can you see the Excel screen?
Yes.
Okay. So,
yes.
So we want to get now the figures. Remember, I want to start by getting what? Variable cost per unit is our step one. You remember step one? Step one is to get what? Variable cost per unit. Variable cost per unit. So, okay, somebody to give me, what is step one? Variable cost per unit. It is B is equals to, what have you told me? Summation of
N summation of XY.
So let me not write it because it will take time. So what is N? What is N? You count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Are we together? So that is 12 times
12 times summation of
X, Y. What is summation of X, Y? This one here. So it is
399,000.
380,000. Okay, we have that already. Okay, minus, I hope we are together with everyone. Minus, what do we have? Sum of X. Sum of X is 5750 times sum of Y. Sum of Y is 805,000. So we have finished with the numerator. The numerator, we have finished with it. So we go to the denominator. So what is denominator? N is 12 times sum of X squared. What is sum of X squared? You can see it here. Times 3,102,900. Is that okay? I hope that is okay. I hope everyone is in the formula page, because, okay, into bracket, sum of X squared. So sum of X is 5750. Close the bracket, squared. So that is what we have. Unless there is a question, that is what we are going to solve. So help me solve that. Help me solve that kindly. So in solving that, I'll come, what is 12? 12 times 3, that gives you 4 million. That is 12 times that. Minus, there is a minus sign there. So don't forget about minus that. Minus equals to, what do we have there? 57 times 805. 805, we have that figure there again. You divide by what? 12 times 102. Where is 102? How did we get 102? Oh, okay, it's not 102. 3 million, sorry. 3 million.
3 million.
Okay. Minus, what do we have this side? 57 squared. So 57 times 57. So it gives you that. So we've already accounted for all figures. I hope we are all seeing. Okay. So if we have already, it's just a minus there. So you divide. So somebody to give me the numerator. The numerator will be equals to this minus that. Whatever you get is that. And the denominator will be equal to 37 minus 33. So we get that. So again, you divide. And then finally, remember there is a minus sign here. Minus, I'm not in a position to insert it. And then finally you will get B, you will conclude B is equals to, you get the division, is equals to that divided by that. So what do we get? 39. Maybe if I round, round to how many decimal places? Were you told the number of decimal places? No. So round to 2. We were not told, so we have just chosen 2 decimal places. So I'll round to 2 decimal places. Now that means your fixed cost is 39.2. Your fixed cost is 39.2. That is fixed. Sorry, variable cost, not fixed cost. That is variable cost per unit. I meant variable cost per unit. So that is the value of what? B. Next, we need to go to step 2. Step 2 is to calculate the fixed cost. Fixed cost. Fixed cost, remember, it was A value, the value of A. So value of, this was variable cost into bracket, it was B. So when we go to fixed cost, what is the formula? Fixed cost is A. We saw that A is equals to, I'll come and write the figures. N is 12. Is it? No. Sum of Y. Sum of Y. What is our sum of Y?
Sum of Y over N.
Yes, sum of Y is 805.
805.
So it is how much? Sum of Y is 805,000. Over N. N is how much? 12. Minus, there is a minus there, I've not put it. B is 39. Do you see 39?
9.26.
B is 39 times. Okay, let me just type it. 39 so that everyone can see. 31.26 times
26.
How much? Sum of X. Sum of X is 57. Again, let me write it so that everyone can see. 57, 50. I know I can use the formulas, but I want everyone to see. That is why I'm just writing. Okay. I messed up there. So let me just retype it. 39.26 times, the other one was, sum of X is 57, 50. Okay, that one will not be a problem. Divide by 12. So we have everything there. So somebody to give me This divide by that, divide by 12, and also this divide by that. So that will give you A is equals to 805 is equals to 805 divided by 12 minus is there. Remember, there is a minus sign which is not being seen there. Minus 39, this one here, times 57. 57 is that. So it gives you that figure. So you take finally this minus that. So A is equals to... Yes?
We forgot, excuse me, lecturer.
Yes?
We forgot to divide by 12 on the other side.
Oh, we forgot to divide by 12. Thank you. To divide by?
Sure.
Yeah, it's good we are following. So we divide by 12. Thank you. So it gives you 18 that. So what is A? A is equals to this minus that. So what do you get? A is, and what is that? That is fixed?
Fixed cost.
Fixed cost. That is which step? That is step 2. So step 1, you have done step 1. You have step 2. Somebody to help me. What is step 3? Step 3? What is step 3? You can read for me from your notes. Formulate what?
Total cost equation.
Total cost
Equation.
Total cost equation. Formulate the total cost equation. What was our second equation? Our second equation is y is equals to bx plus what? A. Do we agree? So the equation will be y is the total cost is equals to, we have already calculated b, is equals to 39.26 step 1 x plus 812.72, and that is what you were asked in that question. Under which method? Under regression analysis. However, you can also be asked step 4. This question did not ask us for step 4. So you can be asked estimate total costs. What was x? X is there at maybe, what was x? Was it hours or units? Estimate total cost when, let me just confirm, when it was hours. So it was hours. I was just confirming, so I'm forced to share a slide again. Just a second, I'm just sharing slides afresh. So estimate total cost when maybe 620 hours are used. 620 hours are used. Estimate total cost when 620 hours are used. You come and copy the same copy. You'll come and post it there. I'll paste it there. And then hours is the x. So you replace x with that amount. So it will be y is equals to 39.26 times x is 620. 620. So let me use star sign times 620. I will get that answer plus 18812.72. So that is what I'll get. So y, you will conclude that y is equals to, and then I'll get my answer. So y is equals to 39. Neema, I've seen your hand. Just a second, I'm giving you a chance. Neema, I've just seen your hand. Just a second. I finish multiplying times 620. 620. I'll close the bracket plus the fixed cost plus thank you. I picked the wrong fixed cost. Maybe that is what Neema is asking. I picked the wrong fixed cost here. Fixed cost was not 18. Fixed cost was
48. 48,270.62.
So it was 48,270.62. Thank you. That was the fixed cost. So here it will still be the same. 48. I'm in class, kindly text. So 48,270.62. Okay, I hope we are now okay. So that will also force this to change. 48. I've not changed this. I don't know why it's a problem. 48,270.62. Okay. Okay, it has finally changed. And this one is 48,270.62. So what we have there, so somebody can give me the answer, 39. So we said 39 times 620. I'll close that bracket. I'll close that bracket. I'll open a new bracket plus 48,270.62. And then I'll just click answer. That is our total cost. That is our total cost. But this question did not ask you for step 4. Step 4 is only if you have been asked estimate the total cost. This question had asked you to formulate. Let's go back to the question. New share, it had asked you, what did it? I'm not seeing my PDF. Yes, it's there. So this question had asked you, can you see the PDF? I'm asking a question. Can we unmute? Can you see the PDF?
Yes, we do.
You are asked estimate the cost what? Function. So what is the cost function? The cost function will be y is equals to 39.26x plus 48,270. Any question in the high-low method before we look at example 2? Any question in the high-low method? So 30 seconds to digest that as we move on before we move to example 2. Is there any question before I share the next example? Any question before I share the next example? I will share these Excel workings with you, so make sure you follow it. Now, example 2, I'll go to a new share. New share. Can you see the PowerPoint? The PowerPoint example 2 is June 2016, question 4B, page 127. June 2016, question 4B, page 127. So I'll go to page 127. Take a minute to read page 127. Okay. Take a minute to read that question B. So take a minute to read that, and then you will be the ones directing me what to do. Take a minute to interpret it. I'm remaining quiet for a minute. Read through the question. So I hope you have already read. So let us go to Excel if you have read that question. So let's go to our Excel. I'm sharing the Excel screen. So example 2, it is still the same question, but now in Excel. So the question reads, Biumba Transporters Limited operates a large fleet of trailers and buses in the Great Lakes region. Each month, a cost of the vehicle maintenance statement is prepared for the transport manager to facilitate control and decision making. Data for the month of January to June 2015 have been availed to you as follows. So you have been given data for January to whatever month you have been given. So you're being told vehicle maintenance cost and vehicle running costs, running time. Which one is X, which one is Y? If you have an answer, unmute and give me. Which one is X, which one is Y?
So I think X is the vehicle running time given it's just an activity level.
Thank
and
you.
then the vehicle maintenance cost is a Y.
Yes. So vehicle running, that is right, absolutely right. Vehicle running time is the X. Now, this is always put there by the examiner to confuse you. Many people forget and just put X there and Y there. Think of, you must rearrange them. So we have January to June. So let me set up. So we will have X, we will have Y, we will have X, Y, and we will have X squared. So we have January to June. So we will have our January, okay, to June. January to June, we have it there. So I'll be forced to just write X. The first X is 3,100, 3,200. So 3,100. The next one is 3,200. The next one is
3,600.
36. The next one is 3,000.
3,280.
3,000. The next one was 280.
280.
And
25.
35, yeah?
35, sorry.
35. So let me post also these other ones as we see. June is 30,000. Next is 29,800. Next is 32,400. 400 as I move up.
32,400.
Next is 29,000.
9.
Next is 31,600. And lastly, 33,600. So I'll be a bit fast here because this is a second example we are covering. So you can give me the values. Let me put commas so that it is very clear. Okay, so here we have is equals to x times y. X times y, you have your values there. It's a very big figure. X times y, it is given there. So I'll go until down. I've done that calculation. X squared will be this times itself squared. So again, you can scroll down so that you get that. And then you'll have total. Total is the sum of. So total, the first one, okay, 19,200. And if I do that, it gives you for all the columns. So 19. Okay, so we start with step 1 is to get what? Variable cost per unit. Step 1 is to get variable cost per unit. Variable cost per unit. So you can remember what we did there. Variable cost per unit is B. So I'm just doing this. So I go back to the next. So is B. So variable cost per unit is equals to the value what? B. So in our value B, we can say B is equals to, and then we come and N is number of pairs of data. So N is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it is into bracket 6 times sum of xy. What is sum of xy? 59, 5, 320, 0, 0, 0. Okay. Minus sum of x. Sum of x is 19,200 times sum of y. Sum of y is 186,400. I'll close that bracket. I'll come and divide by n again is 6. 6 times sum of x squared is 61,900 million. Okay, I'll close the bracket. I'll minus into bracket. Sum of x is 19,200. Close the bracket, squared. So can somebody give me the answers? So what is B? B is equals to, you are seeing I have an option of putting everything into the formula. I'm not doing that because I'm following steps that you will do in exams. In exams, you'll not have Excel. That is why I'm not using formulas directly. So this one will be equals to, it will be equals to 6 times, now I can apply the formula, 59, that I'll get my answer, minus, so there is a minus there, minus 19,200 times 186,400, I get my answer, divided by 6 times 61, I have it there, minus 1900 times 1900. So we have there. So somebody who is quick to help me the answer. So that will be B is equals to, I'm just going step by step, is equals to, the numerator is this minus that. You get the, why is it coming negative? Can you just confirm to me that I wrote everything correct? I don't expect it to be negative unless the setting of the question was wrong. Let me, unless the setting of the question was wrong. I'm just looking at the figure 6 times Q10. Okay, if it comes negative, we will just work with what is there. So 6, let me also look at this figure. I'm just trying to confirm that I wrote the right thing. Okay. How did I get this? Q10, 184. Yeah, everything is right. So which means there was a problem in the setting of the question, but it's not your duty to correct the examiner, minus that. So it gives you negative. And this other one is this minus that. It gives you that. So let me just recheck if there is something we did wrong. No. I think we are right in everything. This is sum of xy. Sum of xy is 180, 590. Okay, 6 times 595. So this was 6 times Q10. Q10, okay. This is, I'm just trying to confirm the answers. This is, I'm just Q10 times P10. Q10 times P. Q10. Okay, this is where we went wrong. Can somebody see that? Can somebody see that figure is wrong? It is supposed to be this times that. Me, I took times that. Do you see where the problem was?
Yeah, we're supposed
Q
O10 on P.
O10.
Stefan.
It is O10. I think it is right.
O10.
It is not wrong. It is O10. You can see here. O10.
The error is somewhere on the denominator, 6 times. Instead of writing 61,900,000, you wrote 6,190,000.
Okay, I'm coming to it just step by step. So I'm coming to that. No, I was just checking if the denominator has any mistake. Does the denominator have a mistake?
Yeah, on the equation of the first equation B.
B. What is the mistake? Sum of
so
x.
6 times. No, 6 times 6,190,000. It is supposed to be 6 times 61,900,000.
I think that won't be an issue given we use the numbers.
There. Exactly there.
There?
Yeah.
Okay. So I add 0.
Yes.
Okay. That should not be an issue because I was using a formula. This one I was just displaying. Do you get the point?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is our answer B? B is equals to, somebody to give me, B is equals to this divided by the next one. So negative what? Negative that. So there is no problem much there. Let's just read the question we find out. What is it? Using regression, analyze the vehicle data into fixed and variable what? Into fixed and variable cost. So what will we say? This is what? This is variable cost per unit. We have analyzed data into variable cost per, and this, so that is step one. Step two will be fixed cost. You calculate the fixed, because you are told to analyze the data. Fixed cost. So what is your fixed cost? A is equals to, you are the ones now to help me. A is equals to sum of y. What is sum of y? Sum of y is 186,400. Do you see that? 186 for, okay, let me just bring it instead of, so that I don't make a mistake. Sum of y is that divided by n. N is 6. N is the number of pairs of data. Minus, this
19.
other one is B. B is, okay, let me round off B to 2 decimal places so that it is easier to pick it. Okay, so B is minus 2.52 times sum of y. Sum of y is
19,200.
186,400. Sorry,
not,
sum of x.
Sum of x.
Sum of x is 19,200. 19,200. I'm just typing so that we see. It is not picking it. So let me retype it. Negative 2.52 times what?
19,200.
19,200. Okay. I don't know why it's rejecting it.
It's because there is a minus sign before the number.
Oh yeah, but now because we are in class, okay, let me use a bracket sign instead of a minus. Let's see if it will pick it. Yeah. So where there is bracket, no, it is a minus. Are we together? So divide by 6. You know, yes. When you are using formulas, you must know where the mistake was. That is why I'm trying to. So somebody to help me. What is the figure here now? This divided by that, it gives you that figure, minus negative 2.52 times 19,200. I'll close the bracket, everything divided by 6. So it gives you that. So it is, there is a minus here which you are not seeing. So it is this minus changes to a positive. So that is equals to this minus that. It changes to positive. So that is the value of A. A is equals to, you have that 39. That is what you are asked in the question. But had you been asked for step 3, what could have been step 3? Formulate the equation. Total cost equation. Formulate the equation. What could have been the equation? Y, somebody to help me. Y is equals to
minus 2.5
minus 2.52 minus, sorry, plus
x
plus 39,130.67. Any question up to that point? Is it clear? I'm asking a question. Is it clear?
You forget X in
Forget
the
X.
equation. Minus 2.52x.
Is it clear? And that is why I want us to participate, so that if there is a mistake made, you can always correct it. I'll again share with you these answers that we have solved. That is which method? That is the regression analysis, using regression analysis. So if there is no question, let us move to the second method. The second method is called what? High-low method. So let me stop sharing that. I go back to my PowerPoint slides. If you see it, you tell me. So we have done example 1 and example 2. So let's go to method 2. Method 2 is called, you are now not using those formulas. Method 2, you use what is called high-low method. High-low method. Now in step 1, which is called variable cost per unit, you now don't call it B, you call it M. Y is equals to MX plus C. Y is equals to MX plus C. So in this case, step 1 is to calculate variable cost per unit. How do we calculate variable cost per unit? Variable cost per unit is equals to cost at highest activity minus cost at lowest activity divided by highest activity minus lowest activity. That is step 1. Now, step 1 is the most important, because once you have got these, the others, they just flow. I will show you how it is done. So how do you calculate variable cost per unit in high-low method? Cost at highest. I have not said highest cost. I have said cost at highest activity minus cost at lowest activity divided by highest activity minus lowest activity. Let us look at an example. Remember, examples I'm using are past paper questions, so that at the end, we don't have time for revision. So when you are revising, you'll just be going back to the past paper questions we covered in class. That is why I'm trying to use past paper questions to solve them, so that when you are revising, your time is eased. Your work is easy when you are revising. So when covering the high-low method, we want to go to example 1. Example 1 is December 2018. You can note the question somewhere so that in your free time you can look at it. December 2018, question 3A. It is page 5 of my new attachments. So December 2018, question 3A, page 5. So let me go December 2018, question 3. Just remind me, men cannot remember very fast. So let me go to a new share, December 2018. It is there. Question 3A. Take a minute to read through that question. Take a minute to read through that, and then we read together. Okay, I want to read it, but I'm being told to share the formula once more. So let me just share the formula so that we remember. I'm being asked to share the formula again. So what is the formula? Variable cost per unit is cost at highest activity minus cost at lowest activity divided by highest activity minus lowest activity. Cost at highest activity minus, I will write for you the formula, don't worry. I will write for you the formula. Now, in this question, the reason why you saw there it is few marks because calculation needed is not complicated. So let's go to our Excel sheet. In our Excel sheet, high-low method, I already have the question there, so we can just read it once more and then we start solving it. That is why it is only 4 marks. So Tech Designers Limited deals in printing and designing of invitation cards for functions such as weddings, which is called whatever name is there, conferences, among others. TDL would like to establish the cost-volume relationship between factory overheads and the number of cards produced. The following cost data relates to the last 8 months. It relates to the last 8 using which method? So if you've been asked use high-low, use high-low. Don't use a method you are not asked. Using high-low method, determine the factory overheads when 2,000 cards are produced. That is step 4. Determine the factory overheads when 2,000 cards are produced. So what we'll need to do, we will need to go through each step, step by step. So step 1. Step 1. What is step 1? Is to calculate what? Calculate variable cost per unit. Now, variable cost per unit, we said variable cost per unit, variable cost per, I'm just repeating for the sake of those, is equals to, what did we say? Cost at highest activity minus cost at lowest activity divided by highest activity divided by what? Highest activity minus lowest activity. So, which means when you are starting to answer that, you should identify what is the highest activity. So you go to these activities. You can see number of cards is the activity. Which is the highest? Which is the highest amount here?
3,000.
I'm asking a question, you can unmute if you have the answer. Which is the highest number of cards?
3,000.
Thank you. What is the cost of 3,000? 59.
59,000.
So look at this. So I'll have 59,000 minus, which is the lowest activity? Lowest activity?
February for 1,250.
What is the cost? 38.
38,000.
Please don't pick the lowest cost. You pick cost of lowest activity. I'm repeating. Many people make this mistake in exams. Remember, what have I written in the formula? Let me be very slow. I have not talked of highest cost and lowest cost. What have I talked of? Cost at what?
Cost
highest
at highest
activity. And I've talked of cost at lowest activity. So you can see this is the highest activity, July. The cost is 59. The lowest activity is 1250. The cost is 38. Now, if you did not understand the formula, you could have just picked the lowest cost, which is 36. It is wrong. 36 is not the lowest activity. Do you understand?
Understood.
Okay, let us continue. So I'm picking, I was just taking time so that you understand why I've picked 38. Why I've picked 38. So we have it there. Divided by, what was our highest activity?
59,000.
Minus 1250. 3,000 minus 1250. So 3,000 minus 1250. So again, so somebody to help me with the answer is equals to 59,000 minus 38,000. So 21,000 divided by 3,000 minus 1250, whatever you get there. So again, I divide. So finally, your answer will be equals to 21 divided by 1750. So what is this? This is variable cost per unit. Variable cost per unit. Variable cost per unit. That is step 1. What is step 2? Step 2 is to calculate fixed cost. Let's be very attentive here. Step 2 is to calculate fixed costs. Calculate fixed costs. Fixed cost. We are calculating fixed costs. Now, you know that we learned this one. We said total cost is equals to variable cost plus fixed cost. Do you agree with me? If you are in agreement, do you agree with me? Now, we also said, I'm just trying to make it more spacious. We also said this variable cost is divided into variable cost per unit, and this one is activity level. We also said that it is divided into that. So variable cost per unit, you multiply by the activity level. So that gives you the total variable cost. Maybe let me take advantage of my machine. I do some signs so that you understand. Okay, what I'm saying, variable cost is divided into two parts. There is a variable cost has got variable cost per unit, and it also has got fixed costs. So it also has got activity level. So you multiply variable cost per unit, you multiply by the activity level. So that is what I wanted us to look at there. So let me stop the pen and I go back home. So here we can also say that we are being asked for fixed cost. We can conclude that fixed cost is equals to total cost minus variable cost. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with that statement? If total cost is equals to variable cost plus fixed cost, what about fixed cost? Fixed cost will be equals to total cost minus variable cost. That is what I'm trying to say there. And then now you go to the question, whatever figures you have used here, they are the ones you use in all your calculations in the high-low. So total cost is 59. Activity is 3,000. Look at what I'm doing now. Total cost is 59,000 minus variable cost is whatever we found here, 12 times variable activity level is 3,000. Activity is 3,000. So when you use 59, use 3,000. When you use 38, use activity as 1250. So times 3,000. I'm again repeating, what is 3,000? It is the activity. What is 12? It is a variable cost per unit. So when you multiply this, so we have it there. I'm just trying to make it as simple as possible. So we will now get the fixed cost. So here we can say fixed cost is equals to. So somebody to give me the fixed cost. Fixed cost once again is equals to, what will that be? 59,000 minus 12 times 3,000. So it gives you 23,000 is your fixed cost. Any question? That is step 2. Step 3. I'll be repeating the steps, okay? Galaxy A8. You know, I can only see. What's your question?
So my question is, on the total cost you use 59,000, but when you look at the table, the examiner indicated that those are overheads. So was it a trick or?
Yes, where there is total cost, that is you use overheads. Overhead costs, they are our overhead costs. Now the examiner, look at here, this is your equivalent of total cost, and this is your activity. Whichever word is used. Number of cards is your activity. The overhead cost is your total cost. Are we together?
Yeah.
In this other question we did, you look at this other question we did. Do you remember this question? Let me take this up. This question we did. What is your total cost? Vehicle maintenance costs. What is your activity? Vehicle running cost, running time. I hope I've answered you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so let's continue. We are in this step what? Step 3. What is step 3? Formulate the total cost equation, or the overhead what? Equation. So what is our total cost equation? Y is equals to M. M was 12. Was it 12? 12. 12x plus what? 23,000. Whatever you have calculated there, times 23,000. Now look at the question. What was the question asking you? Using the high-low method, determine the factory overheads when 2,000 cards are produced. That is 2,000 cards. That is step 4. Step 4. So what is it? Determine the factory overheads when 2,000 cards are produced. Determine the factory overheads, in other words, total cost when 2,000 cards are what? Produced. When 2,000 cards are produced. When 2,000 cards, so somebody to help me, Y is equals to 12 times 2,000. I'll get that answer. Okay, plus 23,000. So what is Y? Y is equals to 12 times 2,000, close the bracket, plus 23,000. 23,000. I did not put the equal sign. So here there is a plus sign. Don't forget about that. So we have answered that past paper question. Any question on high-low before we go to the second example? High-low seems to be easier compared to the other question. So that is the high-low method. Any question?
I lost somewhere. Why we use 38,000?
Why we use 38? Oi, somebody's asking the question and has stopped asking again. Can you unmute? You ask your question, please?
Yes. I have a question about the step 1. Let cost at lower block activity.
Now, look at this.
8,000.
It is cost at
Why we-
highest activity minus cost at lowest activity. We have said number of cards are the activities. So the highest activity is 3,000. You pick its cost. That is why we picked 59,000. What is the highest activity? 3,000. You pick the cost of the highest activity. Lowest activity is 1250. Do you see 1250?
Yeah,
The
I see.
cost of the lowest activity is 38. So that is why we picked 38. You don't pick the lowest cost. You pick cost of the lowest activity. Cost of the lowest activity. Are we together?
Thank you.
Any other question? Can we go to the... Yes?
For the step 2, about the total cost we are used is the cost at the highest level of activity. And the variable, the activity is also the highest. So are we supposed to use only the highest level, or we cannot choose the lowest level?
You can choose the lowest, but for the sake of consistency, so that I don't confuse people, I always advise you pick the highest. The reason why I choose the highest is if these figures were not accurate, you may not get the same answer. But if they were accurate, what we call correlation in business mathematics, if they were correlated, you will get the same answer. If they were not correlated, you will not get the same answer. Hello.
Okay, I got it.
Okay. So let's go to example 2. Example 2, I have it there. Please do it in your books. Do it in your books, 2 minutes, and then you give me 3 minutes. I've projected the question there. 3 minutes, and then you give me the answer. Take your time. That is example 2. Which year is it? It is, oh, I wrote the, let me find out the year. So it is June 2015, question 2. June 2015, question 2. It is page 109. June 2015, question 2. Page 109. I'm giving you 3 minutes, you give me the answer. I'm not doing it. You are the ones doing it, so that I know that people are following. You know, there are some people who maybe are just seated with their legs on top of the couch. So ensure you calculate. Using high-low method. Calculate for me that. Using high-low method. Give me the equation using high-low method. Start by getting variable cost per unit. How do you get variable cost per unit? Variable cost per unit is, you can solve it. So 3 minutes, after 3 minutes, I'll pick anybody randomly. So I'll pick anybody randomly.
Zina gari zan jira. New Year. Zina gari. zenyewe.
No, no, I've not said you story. I've said you solve the question. The reason why I'm giving you time to attempt, you'll be the ones to attempt example 2s. I'll not be doing example 2. You'll be doing example 2 on your own so that you get used to exams questions. That is why I'm leaving you to attempt the second examples. And that is how I'll be teaching until I finish. Example 1 we'll be doing together. Example 2 you'll be doing on your own. Okay, I need the answers. Anybody who can volunteer before I choose? If there is no volunteer, I'll choose. Variable cost per unit. What did you do? What is the cost at highest activity? What is the highest activity? Can you just...
750.
750 is the highest activity. So what is the cost? 77,000. Okay. Minus, what is the lowest activity?
250.
250. So what is the cost of the lowest activity?
55,000.
50?
5,000.
So what is the variable cost per unit? Anybody with the answer?
44.
44. That is good. Now, anybody with the fixed cost. Therefore, fixed cost will be equal to 77,000 minus 44 times 750. Do we agree?
Yes.
Okay. So what is fixed cost?
Which is 44,000.
40?
44.
44,000.
I'm trusting upon your figures. I've not done calculations. Do we get 44,000?
Yes,
Yes.
44,000.
You know, you must be people who can be trusted. So I'm trusting that what you have told me is right. Let us move on.
Yes.
Anybody who did not get
Yes.
44,000? Example 2's I'm repeating. You'll be doing example 2 on your own. I'll be doing example 1. You do example 2 by yourself so that we are in a position to all of us we move together and we learn together. So in short, what we were saying there, we said variable cost per unit is equals to, what have you told me? Is equals to 70? 77
77,000
minus
55,000
55,000 divided by 750
750
minus
minus
250.
250. And then you people, you have told me, what have you got? You have got
44.
44 as your answer. And then you come to fixed what? Fixed cost. So fixed cost, you have said fixed cost is equals to
77.
77
77,000
minus 44 times
times
750.
750.
So what is that? You have said the answer is what?
44,000.
The equation, what is now the equation? Y is equals to
44x
x plus 44,000. Are we together?
That is.
You are
Yes.
asked estimate the cost function using high-low method. So this is your cost function. This is the cost function. Cost function. That is your cost function. That is high-low method. Now, there is always what we call disadvantages of high-low method. So let's go back to the PowerPoint. It is not there, but I just want to write there. Now, we have just been looking at the high-low method. This high-low method has got a disadvantage. So because the examiner can ask you a theory question, disadvantages of, so you can take note of these, disadvantages of high-low method. High-low method normally has got two disadvantages. Number one, it only uses two pairs of data. It only uses two pairs of data, highest and lowest. While regression analysis uses all pairs of data. So regression analysis uses all pairs of data. But when you look at this method of high-low, it only uses two pairs of data. So there is a problem there. The second disadvantage is the accuracy of results cannot be tested. How sure are you that the answer is correct? We cannot prove that the answer is correct. So the accuracy of the results cannot be tested. While in regression analysis, the accuracy of results can be tested by use of correlation coefficient, but this is not in your syllabus. By use of correlation coefficient. I could have taught you what is correlation coefficient, but it is not in your syllabus. So we are saying high-low method, the first disadvantage, it only uses 2 pairs of data. In the second disadvantage is the accuracy of results cannot be tested. While in regression analysis, the accuracy of results can be tested by use of correlation coefficient. So that if you find values between +1 and -1, you know there is what we call correlation. If you find figures above +1 or below -1, there is no correlation. But we are not in correlation. Correlation is not in your syllabus. Correlation was in business mathematics, F1.1. So you can refer back to F1.1 if you want to know the formula for correlation. However, that brings us to the end of high-low method, unless there is a question. So we have looked at regression analysis. We have looked at high-low method. Let's look at the methods remaining. There is accounts analysis method. Unless there is a question, let's go to accounts analysis. So method 3 was what? Accounts analysis. Remember I said, I'll just teach the way I teach in the normal class. So in the normal class, I write in the board. So in this class, I'll write in the slide. Now, this method involves dividing the costs that have been given, has been provided, into fixed costs and variable costs. So we can say the method involves using management judgment to separate, to divide, let me use the word divide, to divide the costs into variable and fixed. So this method involves using management judgment. It is upon the management to decide this cost, rent, is a fixed cost. Supervision cost is maybe semi-variable. So it's management to use their own judgment to decide that a cost is fixed or a cost is variable. So this method involves using management judgment to divide costs into variable and fixed what? Costs. That is the first point. The second point, then you calculate the total variable costs and also calculate the total fixed costs. So the next step is you calculate the total variable cost and also you calculate the total fixed costs. Now, the next step, divide the total variable costs, divide the total variable cost by units of activity provided to give variable costs per unit, to give the variable cost per unit. So divide the total variable costs by units of activity provided. And remember, this becomes your step 1 in what you have been learning. That becomes your step 1. Because what is step 1? Step 1 is to get the variable cost per unit. Is to get the variable cost per unit. Step 2. Step 2 pick, calculate the total fixed what? Costs by adding all fixed costs identified by adding all the fixed costs that you have identified. So calculate the total fixed cost by adding all the fixed costs that have been identified. Step 3, using results of step 1 and step 2, formulate the total cost equation. Using your results in step 1 and step 2, you should formulate your total cost equation. And of course, we all know what is step 4. Step 4, estimate. So your step 4 is estimate the total costs at a given activity level. Estimate the total cost at a given activity level. So remember the steps again. Don't forget the steps. Don't forget about the steps. The key word there is, let me pick the keyword. The keyword there is you use your own judgment. You use your own judgment to split the costs into variable and what? Fixed. You use your own judgment to split the costs into variable and fixed. So once you have split the cost using your own judgment into variable and fixed, you have your step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. Step 3 and step 4. So using your own judgment. Okay. Is there a question before we move forward? Okay, let's look at an example. Here, I did not manage to get a past paper question in good time. By the time I was preparing the list of questions, I did not manage. So you can check if you have, but now because I did not get in good time, we can go to our notes, page 16. Page 16 of our notes. We can go to page 16 of your notes. You will get an example there, which you will do. I did not get question in good time. So let me just go to Excel. I've already copied the question from page 16. So page 16 in your notes, accounts analysis. So this is the question in your notes. You can read it so that we do it together. Take a minute to read it before we do it together. It is in your notes, page 16. So we are saying page 16 in your notes. Okay, take a minute to read and reread. Read and read again. There is a small correction I'll make there. 2013. Okay, so I hope you have read. Now, let's read it together again. ABC Limited produces a single product which is meant for the local market only. The monthly demand for this product varies from 1 month to the other. During the month of November 2013, 1,000 units, the activities 1,000 units were produced, incurring the following expenses: direct materials, direct labor, rent. Hey, rent. Can you mute, please? There is somebody called Pastor, and he has also not muted. So let's mute, please. Let's mute. So we have direct materials. You know from topic number 2, cost classification. Direct materials, automatically these will be what? Variable. A variable what? You use your own what? Judgment. Direct labor will be variable. Variable cost. Next, rent is always fixed. You are told, but you don't need to be told. Electricity, there is a part that is fixed. So this is semi. Please, 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 let us mute. You are interfering. Noela, kindly mute. You are interfering with the class. Okay, so that is semi-variable, and you are being told 40% is fixed. So if 40% is fixed, what does that mean? 60% will be variable. Next, property taxes, that is semi-variable. Next, technical support, that is what? Fixed. You have even been told it is fixed. So you have used your judgment to classify those into fixed and variable. So you have used your own judgment. So remember, this one you are not given. It's you to use your own judgment. So look at the required. What is the required? Using accounts analysis method. Formulate the predictor equation, that is step 3, in the form of y is equals to bx plus a. And then during the month of December, remember here was up to November. During the month of December, ABC estimates to produce 1150 units. Calculate the estimated cost to be incurred in December. Now, remember we said the first step is to calculate the total. So calculate total variable costs. So what is our total variable cost? Our first total variable cost is equals to direct labor. Materials. That one, we have it, we can post it. It is 30,000. I'm writing in full because we were working in thousands. The next one is direct labor. Direct labor, it is how much? 40,000. Okay. Let me provide room for calculations. So that is direct labor, 40,000. Is there any other 100% variable? No. Next, you go to electricity and pick the part of electricity that is variable. 40% is fixed, and therefore 60% will be variable. So electricity, 60% is variable. So somebody to give me, what is that? Somebody to help me. 60% times 27,000. Somebody to give me that. 60% times 27,000. You people, it's very lonely.
1,600.
How much?
No, site 1,600.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have any other with variable? Property taxes and rates. Property taxes and rates. So what is it? 80% is variable. So somebody also to help me that 80% is variable. So it will be 80%
40,000.
times 50,000. Okay. What have you told me?
40,000.
40,000. Okay, yeah, thank you. So that is 80% times 50,000. Okay, where did I place it? I placed it in the wrong part. So let me cut it, remove it there. I remove it from there and take it there. Okay, let's continue. Do we have any other variable cost? No. So what is the total variable cost? Total variable. So total variable cost. Somebody to help with the total variable cost? Remember, this is step 1.
126,200.
How did you get 126? You added everything there. So 126,200. So let's go to step 2. Step 2 is to calculate the total fixed cost. Calculate the total fixed cost. Step 2 is to calculate the total fixed. I'll start with the first one. Oh, sorry. I cannot go to step 2 before I get what? Variable cost per unit. Are we together? So variable cost per unit is equals to, you take that 126, you divide by 1,000 units. Divide by 1,000. Do you see this? During the month of November, 1,000 units were produced. So you will take that, you divide by 1,000. So what do we get? 126 divided by 1,000. So how much? 126.2. So that gives you variable cost per unit. So we are done with step 1. Step 2. Step 2 is to calculate the total fixed cost. Calculate the total fixed cost. So let's start with the ones that are 100% fixed. Rent. So rent was how much? 25,000. Next we have, which one was again fixed? Technical support. Technical support was 28. Technical support was 28. Can we see that 28? So technical support was 28. Next, we have, which one has got electricity? Electricity, 40% is fixed. So somebody to help me, 40% of electricity is fixed. So 40% times 25, times 27,000. So somebody to help me with the answer?
10,800.
How much?
10,800.
10,800, that is good. The last one is property taxes. Property tax. What is fixed? 80% is variable. Therefore, what is fixed?
20%.
20% is what? Fixed. 20% is fixed. So if 20% is fixed, in this case, it will be 20% times 50,000. 50,000. So you'll give me your result, 20% times what? How much?
10,000.
10,000. So we get 10,000. So what is the total fixed cost? Total fixed cost. Total fixed cost. Somebody to help me with the answer. 73. Do we see that? Hey, that is step 2. We go to step 3. What is step 3? Step 3 is to formulate the total cost equation. Please. There is somebody. Admin whatever the name it is. Formulate the total cost equation. Formulate the total cost equation. Somebody to help me. You now know the trend. What is the trend? Y is equals to 126.2 x, let me write it in capital, x plus 73,800. And that was the part A of the question. Let's read part A, what I've selected there. Using accounts analysis method, formulate a predictor equation. This is the predictor equation. Now, part B of the question is asking you, during the month of December, ABC Limited estimates to produce 1150 units. Calculate the estimated cost to be incurred in December. So that is step 4. So that is our step 4. Now in step 4, estimate the total cost of production of 1150 units. Total cost of production of 1150 units. Total cost of production of 1150 units. Now, what will it be? If you remember, you can guide me. We said y is equals to 126.2 times 1150. I'll close the bracket. I forgot to open the bracket there. And then you add, what do you add? You add 73,800. So those with the figures. So total cost is equals to, I can do it this side, is equals to 126.2 times 1150, close the bracket, plus 73,800. Okay, which mistake did I make? Anybody who sees the mistake? The formula is not picking. Okay, I've seen the mistake. It was point, yeah. Thank you. Whenever it's not working, you just see. So that is the total cost. So what am I trying to say? Whichever question the examiner asks you, actually the examiner tests on these 3 methods: high-low, regression, and accounts analysis. Scatter graph are rarely tested. That involves plotting a graph. Any question on accounts analysis? Any question on accounts analysis method? You know, we are training accountants and finance experts and economists. Ensure your work is organized. What am I trying to do? You can even see here my work is organized. Also in exams and even at work, ensure your work is organized. That is the key thing. Even in exams, if your work is not organized, the marker may not really be happy with your work. And you know, if the marker is not happy with your work, you know the consequence of somebody not being happy with your work. So try to give the marker as easy time as possible. Whenever he's working, make your work as organized as possible. Let's go to the last method, but the last method I just want to explain. The last method is called accounts, not accounts, scatter graphs. So let's go to the last method here. So we have so far looked at, do you see the PowerPoint I've shared? Okay, so the last method is use of scatter graph, or also called visual. So we have looked at linear regression. We have looked at number 2, high-low. Number 3, we have looked at accounts analysis. Number 4, we want to look at scatter graphs. Now, this involves whatever data you have been given. You'll always be given the X and Y. So whatever data you have been given, let me see if I have a tool that I can use to draw. You know, in teaching online, you must be good in. Let me find a tool that I can use to draw. Okay, I've got it. Now, what we are saying, in scatter graph, you will be given the activity and total cost. You plot it in a graph. You know, drawing is not easy unless I had a ruler. So what we are saying, you draw I'm just trying to rub what is there. Okay, so what we are saying, you draw, I don't know why it's not, my screen is not drawing. Okay, let me try to erase. My screen is, I always draw on the screen. Today it has refused to draw. Okay, let me try again. It's not still drawing. Then that one, what we are saying, how can I, let me try to use a different form. I see if the problem is, the screen. You know, you must also have a good laptop for you to draw. Maybe my laptop is not good enough. So let me see if I can draw in Excel. So in Excel, you post all your figures. I'm almost there. Just give me a second. Let me see if I can draw in Excel. Yeah, I can draw in Excel. So in Excel, today even Excel is a problem. So, okay, something like that, but you know, so you plot remember, this is your Y. Y represents total costs, and X represents activity. So in all the data you have been given, you show what, maybe that is the first, that is the second, that is the third, fourth, fifth. So maybe you just have your plottings. You just post your plottings like that. And then you read the X and the Y's that the examiner has given you. Maybe the first X is there. I'm just guessing. The other point is there. Maybe the other point is there. The other point is there. Maybe the last point is there. Now in high school, you were taught how to draw a line of best fit. So once you have pointed the X and the Y's, you have got all your points. You draw, you join maybe the first and the last. Ensure some points are above, some points are below. Maybe I'll join these and that. So maybe to join those, oh, I've missed it. You know, using a straight line is not easy. I'm just trying to draw a straight line. I'm trying to join this point. Oh. So something like that. Let's assume this is a straight line. You must be very sober for you to draw that line. Okay, let's assume you know how to draw a line. You have all your points. You draw a line of best fit from mathematics. Once you have drawn a line, and remember it is a line. It is not as scattered as mine. You just take a ruler, connect this point to that point with a line. Now, where this point here, where this point meets the, where it meets the y-axis. In high school, we used to call it y-intercept. That becomes your fixed cost. You read that value, and then you come and say, my fixed cost is maybe 5,000. You read that value. And then you take the points that you had in the line. You take this point, you drop it down. You take the first point, also you drop it down. Drawing is not easy in a laptop. So, and then you'll also draw that, something like that. And also where the point started, you'll draw that. Now, you get this change. I'm just trying to use different colors. You get this difference. The difference between that and that. That is called change in y. You also get this difference. This is called change in x. Now, fixed costs. So look at what I'm doing there. I've already finished actually. Fixed cost. Let me start with variable cost. Variable cost per unit will be equals to change in y. Change in y. You divide by what? Change in x. That will give you the variable cost per unit. Variable cost per unit in that, this change in y, the difference between this and that, divided by change in x, this and that. That gives you variable cost per unit. That becomes your step one. Step one. And then you come to step two. Step two is the fixed. Step two is the fixed cost. Fixed cost. How do you get the fixed cost? The y-intercept. Y-intercept gives the fixed cost. What is y-intercept? The point where the line meets the y-axis. The point where the line meets the x-axis. The point where the line meets the x-axis. Okay? Now, you go to step 3. You now know the remaining steps. Step 3. Maybe, e.g., for example here, I'm just using an example. Don't ask me where I got the examples from. Maybe, e.g., you got your variable cost to be 10. Maybe here, e.g., you have got your variable cost to be maybe 2,000. I'm just guessing. So next is formulate. Formulate the total cost equation. Here, now everything remains the same. So it will be y is equals to 10x plus what? 2,000. And then you'll come finally to your step 4. Step 4, iPhone. You raised your hand. Eh? You know, being in a Zoom class, online class, makes us even to know the gadgets you are using.
Is it where, like, you said the point where the line meets the x-axis? Is it
the y-axis? Why? Are you seeing what I'm selecting?
I can see, but what you wrote was.
Oh, I meant why. You know, sometimes what we write is not what we meant. Thank you. So lastly, what is estimate what? Estimate the total what? Total cost at a given what? Activity level. Estimate the total cost at a given activity level. E.g., maybe 120 units. E.g. 120 units. So if it is 120 units, it will be y is equals to 10 times 120. I close the bracket, plus what? Plus 2,000. So that will be 1,200 plus 2,000. So what will it give you? It will give you 3,200. 3,200. The point is this. Please understand the logic. The point is, for example, are you seeing this? This is an example. Remember, this will be your y-axis. This will be your x-axis. So the first point will be 3,100 and 33,600. You put a star there. Like that until you reach the end. Until you reach the end. So once you have reached the end, you now draw a line of best fit. You draw a line of best fit. This is called line of best fit. Any question? Any question? Any question? Any question? So we have learned today 4 methods. What are the 4 methods that we have learned? The first method we have learned, as I summarize, the first method that we have learned is called, linear regression. You get the B. B is n sum of xy minus sum of x sum of y divided by n sum of x squared minus into bracket sum of x, close the bracket, squared. You get step 2. You get the fixed cost. Fixed cost is A. A is equal to sum of y divided by n minus b sum of x divided by n. And then step 3 and step 4 remains the same. Method 2. Method 2 is high-low method. Step 1, variable cost per unit. Cost at highest activity minus cost at lowest activity divided by highest activity minus lowest activity. Method 3 is called accounts analysis. You use your own judgment to divide the costs into fixed and variable. You start by calculating total variable costs. Once you have total variable cost, you divide by the number of units given to give you the variable cost per unit. And then you also add all the fixed costs. Now, when you have all your total fixed costs and the variable cost per unit, you can form the equation. The last method is called use of what? Use of scatter graph. So it involves plotting the graph. Now, tomorrow when you come, still don't end the class. There's some discussion we want to have. Tomorrow when we come, we'll be starting a new topic called what? Materials. Now, in this topic, we will cover the following. I'm just listing what we will cover, and then we find how to wind up, so that when you come tomorrow, at least you know where we have started. So tomorrow we'll look at, of course, definition of materials. We'll look at types of materials. We'll look at classification classification of materials. We look at what is called materials purchase procedure, and documentation, and the documents involved. For example, when you are requisitioning goods from suppliers, which documents are involved? Purchase orders, etc., delivery notes, material requisition notes, invoice, all those documents, we'll be looking at them. Next, we'll look at what is called stock levels. Stock levels. Here we'll be looking at things like EOQ, etc. Next, we'll look at inventory valuation. Inventory valuation. Next, we will look at what we call is called stock. Before stock taking, accounting for inventory. Accounting for inventory. Inventory is also called stock. Inventory. Next, we look at what is called stock taking. And finally, we look at holding costs. Holding costs. So these are the topics we will cover in the topic materials. So this is called what? Scope of the chapter. What do we cover in the chapter? Scope of the chapter. So when we come, we'll just be covering these one by one until when we finish. Now, I want to take attendance, but the attendance is only for Minicofin sponsored students. I'm taking attendance, but for Minicofin sponsored what? The others, I'll just note your records somewhere. So allow me to take attendance. Remember, tomorrow's class starts at 8. Please, by 7:55, let us all be online so that we don't waste time. Let us all be online by 7:55. So, do we have Chantal? Let everyone unmute. We have finished the class. Unmute so that I can take attendance. Unmute Chantal. Is Chantal there? Okay, what we need to do, which I forgot, at the beginning of the class, you will always be going to chat. I forgot that, sorry for that. At the beginning of the class, you go to the chat. You can see an icon for the chat there. If you can see, there is something called more. If you see more, you can click on more and then you will see chat. If you cannot see chat. So once you go to chat, you type your names, phone number, and email address, so that I'm in a position to take attendance. So let's all go to chat as we wind up. Type your name, email address, and phone number. Name, email address, and phone number. Let's go to chat. I'm also typing mine. So go to chat and type those details. Name, your full names, email address, and phone number. I'll use that for attendance for everyone, so that I monitor who are in class, who are not in class. So go to the chat, type your name, comma, email address. I'm typing in the chat, and what? Phone number. Before we end the class, kindly let's do that. Type your name, email address, and phone what? Number. Thank you. Bonus. Okay, that name is difficult. Umwali Devota, thank you. I've seen yours. Kayezu Annette, I've seen yours. Nema, I've seen your attendance. Type your name, email address, and phone number. Mugisha Noela, have seen yours. There are some people I'm not seeing here. Jean Paul, is it Jean Paul or John Paul? I've seen yours. Benon, I've seen your attendance. Thank you, Suzuzo. That is an disadvantage of high-low method you've identified. That is why we looked at disadvantage of high-low methods. David Charles, I've seen your attendance. I'm being asked which is the best method to use. The best method to use is regression analysis. The best method to use, Jean-Baptiste, type your email address and phone number also. Jean-Baptiste, I'm giving you benefit of doubt that you'll be there tomorrow. Eh? Next, Anaste, I've seen her. Okay. Next, we have Jean-Paul. Okay, Jean-Paul, I've seen you. Let me pick your attendance. I'm just picking attendance and then we end the class. Jen. I think we can stop there. Mahoro Alexander. Alexander, I hope I've pronounced it well. Okay. So let us stop there. Save your bundles. We meet tomorrow at exactly 8. I'm starting the class. Any question? How was the Zoom class? Maybe comment so that we can improve. You can now just unmute. The class is over. How was the Zoom class? Any feedback? Somebody can talk. So let us stop there then. We meet tomorrow. Thank you. Have a good night. Stay safe.